We present Grampa's Place, a programme for our young listeners.
Hello. Here we are at Grandpa's place. Grandpa wakes and stops his snoring, makes himself a cup of tea. I go to see him nearly every morning. Grandpa's place is the place for me. Yes, Grandpa's place is the place for me. I hope Grandpa's ready. We're going out in the car today.
I'm coming, Rochelle. And I'm all dressed to go out in your car. See, I've got my hat and coat and my gloves on. Oh, hello. You're here too. Nice to have you at Grandpa's place.
Is there anywhere you'd like us to take you today, Grandpa? The car's outside.
Well, I'd like to go down to the wharves today, Rochelle. I'd like to look at the ships.
All right, Grandpa. We'll take you there. Get in the car and don't forget to do up your seatbelt.
Oh, there we are. And that's my seatbelt done up. Here, you sit beside me and do up your seatbelt too.
Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car.
Beep, beep, beep. Can you make the car noise? Come on, give us a hand.
Take you riding to the sea. Take you riding to the sea.
Beep, beep.
Take you riding to the sea. Take you riding to the sea.
Would you like to drive for a while? Hold on to the steering wheel. That's the way.
Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car.
Beep, beep.
Take you riding in my car. Here we are. We're at the wharves. Look at all the big ships, Grandpa.
Yes. Look, there's the ferry. Oh, the ferry is a very big ship.
The ferry is so big, it can even carry cars as well as people.
I've got a story about the ferry. Would you like to hear it? This is the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. This is the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. This is the car going up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. This is the boy who travelled far beside his dad who drove the car up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. Now here comes the ferry, which carries the boy who travelled far beside his dad who drove the car up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton.
Yoo-hoo!
This is the granny, so very kind and merry, waiting and waving to the ferry, oh what joy, which carries the boy who travelled far beside his dad, who drove the car up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. The kettle is boiling noisily to make a lovely cup of tea for Granny, so very kind and merry, waiting and waving to the ferry, oh what joy, which carries the boy who travelled far beside his dad who drove the car up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. Here is a cottage, bright and gay, where the sun is shining all the day, and the kettle boiling noisily to make a lovely cup of tea for Granny, so very kind and merry, waiting and waving to the ferry. Oh, what joy, which carries the boy who travelled far beside his dad, who drove the car up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton. When I am really old and grey, I'll go to that cottage bright and gay, where the sun is shining all the day, and the kettle boiling noisily to make a lovely cup of tea for Granny, so very kind and merry, waiting and waving to the ferry. Oh, what joy, which carries the boy who travelled far beside his dad, who drove the car up the ramp so carefully onto the ferry that sails the sea that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton.
The ferry must be a very big ship. Are there any sailors on the ferry, Grandpa?
Oh, yes, lots of sailors. A sailor went to sea to see what he could see. But all that he could see was the bottom of the deep blue sea.
A sailor went to sea to see what he could see But all that he could see was the bottom of the deep blue sea A sailor went to sea elbow.
Oh, yes, that's right. Point to your nose, then point to your elbow. A silly song.
A sailor went to sea elbow to see what he could see elbow. But all that he could see elbow was the bottom of the deep blue sea elbow.
Whatever next?
A sailor went to sea elbow knee.
Oh, really? I'll never keep up. Are you touching your knee as well this time?
A sailor went to sea elbow knee to see what he could see elbow knee. But all that he could see elbow knee was the bottom of the deep blue sea elbow knee.
Oh, enough. That's a dopey song. But I liked it. Didn't you? This is the boat, the golden boat that sails the silver sea. And these are the oars of ivory white that lift and dip, lift and dip. Here are 10 little sailors running along to take the oars of ivory white that lift and dip, that move the boat, the golden boat, over the silver sea.
Grandpa was doing the actions for that poem. Do it again, Grandpa.
Well, I'm making the boat with my hands.
Can you do that too?
This is the boat, the golden boat.
Now, move your hands like the waves that rock the boat.
That sails on the silver sea.
Put your arms out to the side like oars and row.
And these are the oars of ivory white.
Keep rowing.
That lift and dip, that lift and dip.
Hold all your fingers up now for sailors.
Here are 10 little sailors running along to take the oars of ivory white.
Start rowing again.
That lift and dip, that lift and dip, that move the boat, the golden boat, over the silver sea.
Did you see any fishes when you were rowing, Grandpa?
Oh, yes. I saw a whole school of little fish. They were darting very quickly under the oars.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I let it go again.
Why did you let it go?
Because it bit my finger so.
Which finger did it bite?
The little finger on the right.
Can you hold up your little finger on your right hand? That's one of your hands, that's it. Now, you know which finger was bitten by the fish?
Oh, there it goes. The ferry.
One day, I'm going to go on the ferry for my holiday. When I'm really old and grey, I'll go to that cottage bright and gay, where the sun is shining all the day, and the kettle boiling noisily to make a lovely cup of tea for Granny, so very kind and merry, waiting and waving to the ferry. Oh, what joy, which carries the boy who travelled far beside his dad, who drove the car up the ramp so carefully, onto the ferry that sails the sea, that lies between the land so green from Wellington to Picton.
Wave to the ferry. There it goes. Wave.
Oh, and it's time we were driving home too, Rochelle.
And it's time we were saying goodbye too. Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car. Take you riding in my car.
It was good looking at the ships. I like the ferry boat. When I get home, I think I'll make a ferry out of boxes. Why don't you do that too?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Take you riding in my car.
Car.
Take you riding in my car.
Car.
Take you riding in my car.
That was Grandpa's Place, presented by Rochelle Vinson and Desmond Kelly.